So this is my treatment presentation for my film opening. My working title is Haven because I wanted my title to be able to hint at what would happen later on in the film. With my film being a horror, it would be obvious to the audience that the word would not be being used in a positive context. So Haven could hint at the fact that the film would follow someone's journey to a safe haven of some sort. And I think the title also works because of its irony and the fact that the world my characters are in is not, like, very safe. The genre that I've chosen for my film is post-apocalypse / horror / thriller. The tone of the film will be fairly serious, including some comedic moments, but mainly following the conventions of a typical horror thriller. I feel these genres and atmosphere will allow me to have a wider audience and will give me less of a strict genre to stick to. The film will appeal to those who enjoy horror, thriller, apocalyptic films and psychological horrors. This is like a mood board of like what inspiration I've taken for my film. So it's all going to be very natural with a lot of outside shots. Many of my influences for my film are pieces of post-apocalyptic media. My main influences are The Last of Us and The Walking Dead, but it will be more similar in tone to The Last of Us, as it will begin mid-apocalypse instead of at the very start. I find these more interesting as you can see how people have sort of adapted to the new world, and I think it's better to just delve straight in. In regards to shot types, lighting and along with other technical aspects, my main sort of inspirations for those are the directors of Beautiful Boy and Midsummer and Hereditary. I love their approach to each shot, and they both use quite natural lighting, and they also have quite harsh lighting from the back, but I think that it would better match my film. These are examples of their shot types. So the breakdown of the sequence, I wanted it to avoid giving my audience too much context on what's going on, so I want it to be quite like random in what is going on in the actual first scene. So the film will begin with a black screen as the text detailing the studio and director's name pops up, and then it will suddenly snap to a extreme close-up of my main protagonist's face, and it will slowly pan out to reveal the whole character who's lying in a field. And then other shots will reveal the protagonist as she stands up, gets her bearings, collects all her things, and eventually walks away as the title of the film appears. In between these and maybe after, there will be other shots of nature, but this hasn't been decided yet. My representation of social groups, my opening doesn't use much time exploring the actual characters, but the character we meet is young and defies the stereotypes of a typical teen. She seems to be tough, seen in the way that she gets up without any fuss, and the fact that she's not alone in the first place. The protagonist is also female, something not often seen in post-apocalyptic media. She's a survivor and defies the expectations of being weak and irresponsible. I think it's unexpected to see the only protagonist in a film of this genre is both young and female, so I think that will work well. Possible locations near me, I think I'll most likely have my opening set in a desolate field, because it will have nothing around it, and it will mean that I don't have to worry too much about making buildings looking old and stuff. I wanted to shoot in a woods at first, but I realised that with not using any artificial lighting, it probably wouldn't be best, as the trees would block out most of the light that I wanted. I want to hopefully be able to film the scene at dawn so that there's still all the fog, and it will have that sort of an apparent feeling that it's morning. This is what I'm hoping to get. And my target audience, after researching into what other pieces of media that I'm influenced by, the target audience will most likely be age 16 to 23. I think that girls are most likely to watch my film due to the presence of a female protagonist. However, due to the genre, it could also be quite popular with boys. Yet to find research into my own audience, as I haven't got around to that yet, but I'm hoping that this suffices. That's it.
Okay. Thank you. Any questions? In terms of sound, are you going to use some music, or is it going to be, because you talk about this naturalistic kind of look? Are you going to kind of keep the sound maybe more soundscapey and kind of ambient? I suppose.
So my aim was to basically have almost no music, to make it quite raw and just rely on the diegetic ambience around the scene. So it'll be hopefully just like the wind blowing, and it'll be as quiet as possible to make the audience feel sort of more like involved in the world.
Yeah, and you want to kind of create that on the edge feel. If something is not particularly, not the comfort of sound in there to kind of guide what is happening. You can, like I say, you're creating lots of images that putting the audience on edge or making them feel a bit tense from the get-go. So, okay, excellent.